Before the president runs for office again in 2020, he has to stay in office until 2020. And in addition to that far-left fringe element in Congress, there is now a California college offering a course on ways to impeach Donald Trump. Yes, San Diego State is offering a one-unit course titled Trump, Impeachment, Removal, or Conviction. Now, the only required reading for this course is a book called The Case for Impeachment. The syllabus also says the class will explore the possibility of removal under the 25th Amendment. Intriguing. Well, here to talk about this is the media director at campusreform.org, Cabot Phillips. Cabot, great to see you again. This is interesting here. I don't suppose they were teaching this class 4 years ago, were they?
I highly doubt they were teaching this class 4 years ago, and if Hillary Clinton had won the election, I highly doubt they would be teaching a similar course. But schools know they can get away with it as long as their bias is against President Trump. Usually schools will try and be discreet about the bias that they have towards conservative causes and candidates, but now they're not even trying to hide it anymore. The schools are proudly proclaiming that they think, in this case, that President Trump should be impeached. And, you know, in America, we have this thing called due process. We have this notion that you are innocent until proven guilty. But in this case, the school is making up their mind with the name of the course going in, where students aren't going in with an open mind. It's very clear the bias behind this course.
Yeah, you know, there's intense competition to get students to go to your particular university these days. And do you see this happening where colleges will offer these courses that might be cool for kids, might be popular, might be trendy for kids, just so they can attract more students?
Absolutely. I mean, at the Leadership Institute's Campus Reform, we cover stuff all throughout the year, how universities are very rarely concerned with actually teaching students the basics, teaching them, you know, civics courses, history courses, reading courses, things like that. And they're oftentimes replacing those required courses in the traditional fields now, and replacing them with social justice initiatives and with politically motivated courses like this. And again, you touched on a little bit, where they're trying to get more and more extreme for a few reasons. One, they know that it's interesting, it catches the eye of their students, and, you know, who doesn't love bashing conservatives on college campuses, sadly. And also, number two, because there's been very little accountability. This is taxpayer money that's going towards funding this course, and around the country, it is taxpayer money that's being used to teach students not how to think, but really what to think, and that's wrong. And I think taxpayers would be a lot more upset if they knew where their money was going and if they knew what kind of courses were being taught on campus.
All right, well, let's turn our attention from California and San Diego State to Rutgers University in New Jersey now. A newspaper there, a student newspaper, is under fire from conservatives on campus. The paper recently blamed the recent school shooting down in Florida on something called, quote, toxic masculinity. The label toxic masculinity is a mental illness, they say, the same as schizophrenia. First of all, Cabot, I know you've done your research here. Explain to me what toxic masculinity is. Essentially,
toxic masculinity is this phrase that has popped up from the left, where it is anything that has to do with the traditional sense of what it means to be a man. In the traditional sense of, you know, being strong, being, having courage in situations, you know, being loud, outspoken, being manly, having that sort of bravado. The traditional sense of what it means to be a man is now a danger to society, and it's something that is bad and it's harmful, and it's something that should be discouraged. And so now what we see happening is the left applies this term toxic masculinity to anything that happens from a man that they disagree with. They blame it on toxic masculinity because it's kind of this coverall thing they have. And in this case, they saw the shooting as an opportunity to push that narrative. And it's disappointing to see that they're trying to politicize this tragedy, make something that's so horrible and this sick, deranged person, and make it have to do with the fact that he's a man, and it's, you know, his actions as a man that's the real problem. And it's dangerous rhetoric to be pushing.
Yeah, it is dangerous. It's conflating two things that are not connected at all. Yeah. Now, there's another issue here I think that we should talk about, and it appears in the school newspaper. It's called the Targum. They receive roughly $1 million per year from an $11.25 student fee. Now, this kind of reminds me of the SCOTUS case that we've been talking about, where the justice heard this week. These students shouldn't be forced to pay to support something that they don't support, right? How can they compel these students to pay this fee if they don't agree with the student newspaper?
And many times what they do is they sneak that student fee in there to the point where the students don't actually know that they're paying it, or at least they don't know what the student fees are going towards. And this is a problem we see across the country, where at the beginning of the year, students get on campus and the university says, okay, you have to pay $150 for student activity fees. And the students many times have no idea where that money is going towards. And overwhelmingly, that money is going towards liberal causes, liberal events, or towards newspapers like that are pushing a ridiculous agenda. Another example of this, at George Washington University last week, student fees like these were being used to hold a Planned Parenthood fundraiser on campus. And so again, many students, when they pay in, they just assume that they have to. At Rutgers, actually, in this case, the students legally are able to request that they get their money back. They can, if they don't agree with it, they can fill out some paperwork and they can get those dollars back that they gave to the paper because it's going to such a biased thing. But sadly, many students don't know they have that right.
Yeah, and they should look into that. Maybe they can pull their money together and start their own alternative newspaper.
That's what they're doing. They are doing that.
Well, good for them. That's what they should do. One last thing to talk about real quick with about a minute left to go. Weber International University recently became the second college in Florida to sign up for a program that allows trained staff members to carry firearms on campus. This is something part of the Sentinel program offered by the Polk County Sheriff's Office. I believe Grady Judge is the sheriff down there, and it provides comprehensive training. Do you see this being a pilot program for other campuses around the country that want to harden their facilities? I
do think that a lot of universities are looking into this, and they're going to definitely view what's happening there in Florida as kind of a test case where they can see logistically what are the resources that need to go into it. And in this case, it's through the local sheriff's office, local police office, which I think in many Americans view as the right way to do it to make sure they're getting top-notch training. But this push to have firearms on campus legally is something that's not going away anytime soon. The campus carry issue is still being hotly debated, where students believe they have the right to carry firearms on campus to protect themselves, and now we see professors getting in on that push. It'll be interesting to see, though, if it goes around the country. Right now it's an isolated case there in Florida. Few other states around the country have already had measures like this, but I think a lot of Americans, including President Trump, we saw making that push to have professors, teachers who are trained being able to defend themselves.
We probably won't see it on the campus of Berkeley, but some other places perhaps. Cabot Phillips, great to see you. Come back anytime. We'll see you again real soon.
Thanks so much.
All right, coming up, new reports that Amazon made more than $5 billion in profits last year, but paid no taxes. How is that possible? Economist Stephen Moore is here to explain that, plus more on the president's tax plan and what it could mean for you after this.